Welcome again to our round table. I'm Carl Brookins, author of Bloody Halls, an urban crime novel, Devil's Island, a Lake Superior mystery, and The Case of the Greedy Lawyers, about a Minneapolis private detective. This is program number 28 in our series. With me in the studio, as always, our co-hosts Ellen Hart, author of the Jane Lawless mystery series. Her current novel in the series is titled The Mirror and the Mask. It's soon to be joined by The Cruel Ever After. When is that? In December, right, of this year?
Yeah.
Another fine novel from our other award-winning host, William Kent Kruger, who's also here, is called Vermilion Drift, due out in early September. Kent's the author of the Cork O'Connor series. Coming up in a few minutes, an interview with our guest theater director, David Mann. Adaptations of crime novels to and from the stage have always been an interesting and sometimes contentious subject. Agatha Christie's plays have gone to the printed page and back more than once. We thought it would be interesting to talk a little bit about that, particularly since our guest on this program is currently directing an original play for the Park Square Theater in St. Paul. It's called Sherlock Holmes and the Case of the Jersey Lily. So, who wants to jump in?
I think Kent was.
I got a great one.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. Do you guys think of Les Miserables as a crime novel? Crime takes place.
Yeah.
He's pursued throughout. I mean, it's lots of other things. Les Miserables became this enormous, you know, and when you think about the kinds of material that would be adapted to the stage, Les Miserables didn't jump out at me as a great musical
No, it wouldn't have.
stuff.
Yeah.
Basis for musical, but there it is. I thought that was really interesting.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I loved Christie's, well, it was written for the stage, and that's The Mousetrap. And that has been, I think that was the longest running mystery play, or may have been a longest running play
that's right.
ever.
But I've seen 10 Little Indians adapted for theater very well.
Yeah.
It really lends
I have a
itself
funny
well.
story about The Mousetrap. We did that as a community theater play in Fargo when I lived there, and although I was not in the play, because there's an important part as a lawyer, they cast a lawyer as in that part. Only he could not learn the script. He couldn't learn his lines. So the director said, well, we'll just give you the script in a legal-sized tablet, and you can carry it around like a lawyer and read from it, you know, and back and forth, and that would work. Except he constantly would forget where it was he was in the script, and it was just, I mean, it was so funny.
That's hilarious.
It was
typecasting doesn't always work.
Doesn't always work.
Not yet ready for prime time.
You'd think a lawyer, I mean, this guy was a trial lawyer.
Well, do you ever think about adapting one of your books to theater?
I've never thought about it.
Not to theater. I think about it all the time to the big screen because I think you can make more money that way.
Yeah. Oh no. Yes. I mean, it's another opportunity.
A lot of people have told me
money.
that Inner Passages is really made for television.
Here's a novel that I think of as a crime novel, although it's often not taught that way. It's taught as one of the great American classics, which is To Kill a Mockingbird. Oh, sure. And that's going to be one of the Park Square Theater offerings next season.
I wonder who's adapting that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I just know that they're doing it as a play.
That'll
be interesting.
You have a season ticket to that.
Operation. I am a season ticket holder. I have been for many years a season ticket holder.
Oh.
Yep.
I'm not going to ask you to critique the plays or the director or anything like that, though. That's not what this is all about.
Although I'm sure the upcoming performance of Sherlock Holmes, because we have a fine director, is going to be an excellent production.
Oh my goodness.
When I was first published, they said if you can do anything with Sherlock Holmes, it's you secure yourself an immense readership by doing anything
like a pastiche.
Well, anything, because really, even if you include Sherlock Holmes, because there are so many Sherlock Holmes fans that are even in the Sherlockian groups, they buy up everything.
Well, one of the huge collections of Sherlockian stuff is at the University of Minnesota Library.
Do you know sort of the story of the transference of the Sherlock Holmes original to the stage? William Gillette. You guys know the name William Gillette?
Yeah.
Okay.
Vaguely.
William Gillette became known as Sherlock Holmes in the early part of the 1900s, 20th century.
I thought that was Basil Rathbone.
No, it was,
that was later.
on stage.
That was
William Gillette. He played Sherlock Holmes over 1,300 times.
Oh, my.
And he sort of became the quintessential stage Sherlock Holmes.
guess.
He did a lot of the sort of the characteristic things we think of now. Sherlock Holmes. He was the first guy to do the deerstalker hat. Sherlock Holmes in the earlier productions of it had done a straight pipe. He did the curved pipe because the audience could see his face better.
Oh, is that?
That's
How
right.
Interesting.
But
Well, you know what?
oh, it's
Yeah, you can tell the rest of that story later.
Okay.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with our guest, Park Square Theater director, David Mann. We're back, and I'm pleased to have at our table David Mann, the director of one of the directors who works at the Park Square Theater. Mr. Kruger, you're going to do a little introduction here, are you?
yeah.
Thank
We're
you.
really fortunate to have a remarkable man, and I don't mean that just as a play on words. It's true. With us today, a man of many talents. David is a renowned actor. You've toured with a lot of one-man shows. You're much in demand as a motivational speaker and a facilitator of workshops on communication. You're a writer, a director. You even have your own business, Word to Action, whose main thrust is mastering the business of speaking. And you really have a lot of
It fits
high-powered
right in.
corporate clients involved in your work there. So have I missed anything?
Directing plays? Maybe.
Writing and directing I put in there. You were originally trained at Northwestern and at the London School of, let's see, the London School of Music and Dramatic Art.
London Academy.
London Academy.
Lambda, it's usually known as
Okay,
Lambda.
okay. And you're
Really?
with us in large measure today because of your connection with the Park Square Theater's production of Sherlock Holmes and the Jersey Lily, which you are in fact directing. Now, before we get to that, I want to ask you a question. You're a man of so many hats. Is there one of the things that you do that you really like doing the best?
What I'm doing at the present time. And because people ask that sometimes, and I really got to thinking, which one do I like best? And the best answer, and it's the truth, is whatever I'm doing at the present time. Because if I'm acting in something, I just love it. And I go, wow, why would I ever do anything else? And when I'm writing a show, or I've done a lot of writing of one-man shows, but also other shows, the process of writing, I can go, you know how it is. 10 hours just passes like that, and you don't even know it passed.
Yeah, when you're really into
When
it.
you're really on a roll with it. And in directing, it's the same feeling. And then when I work with the corporate clients, I think, why would I ever, it's amazing, so.
As we said earlier, I've been a season ticket holder to the Park Square Theater for years. I love their productions. So that's sort of my connection. Tell us about your connection with Park Square.
I started, actually the very first thing I did with Park Square, I was 18 years old and I was in Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, that goes back a long way.
Back a very long way.
Is that right?
And, but many years after that,
What did you do with Romeo and Juliet?
I was Paris.
Okay. Oh, an important role.
Yes, important
Did you have to
role.
learn how to?
Yes, and I got killed. That scene is often cut, but they didn't cut it, and I got nice and killed in that. But many years later, I was directing and I suggested to Richard Cook, the artistic director, a play called Taking Steps by Alan Ayckbourn, a British farce writer, and he decided to do it and have me direct. And so I directed that, and the next year did Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Jeffrey Hatcher, the current adaptation of that, and now this. So that's my connection.